Welcome to the Church of Mabus radio show. It's Friday night, 7:12 p.m. Central. Listen to United Public Radio 107.7 FM New Orleans. Got Jay here with us.
How's it going, Jeff?
Terrible. We got Jason Hewlett here.
Hello.
Hey, good to have you back.
Yeah, it's been a while already.
Yeah, we had you for Lake Monsters.
Yeah, Ogopogo, which was like July of last year, I think.
Yeah, somewhere around there. Yeah.
Time flies, man.
It does. It's going by so fast. It's just weird. Like everything's just weird right now. So crazy, but
it's going faster than a slick lake monster.
Yeah, basically.
It just seems like to me the whole son of a bitch is about to just blow up. That's what it seems like to me every day.
Actually, I was just looking at the news, and I was the show after this news. On the flip side, that the title of it for tonight is peace breaking out? What's going to happen to World War III? I thought Trump was supposed to start it. They just signed a peace treaty with the Congo and another country from Africa just this week. Putin is now crying for peace. Zelensky's crying for peace. So when is he supposed to take over the world, people?
I thought he was about to bomb Venezuela for drugs, which is the dumbest thing.
No, he's bombing boats coming out of Venezuela. And if they don't stop it, he's going to stop on the ground.
And most of them are like innocent fishermen that aren't even like
in submarines. Come on,
no, I'm talking about. There was a picture. There was a picture that little Noam alien plant face from South Park, the ugly lady that her face comes off on South Park.
Don't care.
She was showing a bomb boat, and it was a boat from like something that happened a million years ago, and she was spreading false information. But anyway, my point is, let me say this one thing. Y'all could talk about politics on the next show. Let me just say one thing, and we'll get to Wendigo. Wendigo. But anyway, my insurance was $30 a month. I open it up, and because of Trumpelgooch getting his little rocks off against Obama, and it's $300 now. So now I'm canceling it because I can't afford it. How many other Americans by insulin or cancer survivors or whatever are gonna die because this idiot Trump Care? There's pictures of Trump Care. We got you covered. It has people in dead.
Well, first of all,
Trump Care.
It's not his fault. He didn't write this law. This law was written in and put in by Obama's administration, and the clause that they wrote into it expired this November. And the Democrats want to rewrite it up. So it's not his fault for this thing collapsing. That was written into it.
When are you going to stop kissing this guy's ass? That's what I want.
Read the law. That's the way.
But anyway,
that's the way it happened.
Anyway, let's end the politics and get to the real good stuff. If you want to discuss politics, go to Facebook. I have a group called Fuhrer Shitbird von Trumpelgooch, and you can talk about him there all day. But Jason, good to have you here. Sorry about the politics.
That's right.
Wendigo. Man, it's the creepiest thing ever. It just gives me the creeps. And that's not Satan behind that curtain. That's a Cthulhu with wing bank.
Okay. Glad you clarified that.
We were saying it was Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula, Gary Oldman. Because
when he had that weird hair.
Oh, yeah.
It was more
beginning of the movie, yeah.
It's a Cthulhu bank on a shelf. Usually this is over more, so it looks more neat.
Look more menacing. It also kind of looks like a gargoyle from the back, like he's about to joump off the church.
It's a Cthulhu with big wings.
Yeah, it does kind of look like a gargoyle in a way, yeah.
Shelf, but it's like a neat bank. But this subject is definitely the creepiest of all the paranormal stuff to me, and this story is definitely creepy. And I've enjoyed the book. I've seen the documentary.
Oh, thank you.
And it's like one of those things where you're almost hesitant to talk about it because you don't want to. All the natives are like, don't talk about it. And here we are, white people, and doing it. But anyway, what got you started on this morbid journey of Wendigo?
Well, it was one of those things that as a kid, I talk about it in both the book and the film that there's an Incredible Hulk comic from like the late 60s,
Oh,
early
yeah.
70s where the Hulk fights the Wendigo, and it's the first appearance of Wolverine as well.
Yes.
And I had that comic as a kid, and I thought like the Wendigo was like the coolest comic book villain I'd ever seen. So I would draw pictures of the Wendigo and write them into my comics. It wasn't until I got older that I realized it wasn't a comic book character created by Marvel. It was a real indigenous folk story out of Alberta with the Algonquin and Cree tribes, and it's tied into cannibalism and the whole shebang. So after I wrote the Wendigo book and made Cursed Waters with Eli Watson, I was kicking around ideas for another book just because I had time on my hands, and I was looking into the Wendigo and the Cadborosaurus, which is a sea monster we have off the coast of British Columbia. And when Eli and I were having a post-production meeting on Cursed Waters just before it came out at Monster Fest 2, he was kind of just out of the blue said, "What book are you writing next?" And I just went, "Wendigo." Just picked it that way. And he's like, "Oh, well, you got to talk to Heather, like, Heather Moser from Small Town Monsters, because we're talking about doing a Wendigo film next year." And that kind of just kicked off the whole process right there.
In the Hulk comics, is he kind of like, it looks like a Bigfoot, doesn't he? Or
it looks like a white Bigfoot with a tail, so nothing at all like what a Wendigo's supposed to look like.
And I think later on in the universe, he's kind of like, so Banner changes into a Green Hulk. The other Doctor turns into Thor with the hammer, and then another guy turns into Wendigo, and it's all based on like different types of gamma radiation that they all three were zapped by, which is why they're able to operate these different alter egos, if you will.
Something like that, yeah. Like
something like that.
All the cannibalism concept altogether, right? Kind of thing. But that's comics, and there was a comics code authority back then, and you had to
yes,
right.
Yeah.
So yeah, but the real story is like completely different. Depending on how you look at it, it's either like a psychosis, or it's a possession story, or it's a cryptid story, and now it's kind of a little bit of everything.
It's sometimes a kind of a Jekyll and Hyde kind of thing too, like good guy by day, but evil Wendigo by night.
Well, now if you're actually possessed by a Wendigo and you consume human flesh, you are just this monster that's doomed to roam the wilds forever, starving, eventually even eating yourself, until there's like basically like nothing left. Once you get that hunger, it's insatiable.
Kind of like the Ouroboros.
Yeah, it's really like Jeffrey was saying, it's like one of probably the most terrifying kind of cryptid story out there, because there's nothing good about it. Like I
didn't realize it was that I was going to say cryptid, but that gross, that graphic.
Oh, it is. It's a gruesome story, and it crosses over in Canada into true crime as well, because we actually have a case of a gentleman named Swift Runner, who I talk about in the book and in the documentary, where he basically ate and murdered his family. He was like a Cree trapper in the late 1800s. He was arrested by the Northwest Mounted Police, with now our RCMP. And he was hung at Fort Saskatchewan. He was the first person legally hung at Fort Saskatchewan. And the reason he ate his family is because the Wendigo made him do it. And he was afraid of being completely possessed by this creature. He wasn't even a creature then. It was a spirit that would just take him over, and you'd eat people. So he was hung, basically begging to be killed, because otherwise this Wendigo is going to take him over. And it's actually documented in Canadian criminal law. So that's where the story went from being a story to being something that people took seriously, and worked its way into the Western culture.
It went from the level of folklore to fact. If the courts are writing it up,
that makes it something. You don't hear that really tied so much into other cryptid stories. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of a unique in that aspect.
Well, I mean, you got to wonder, what it is that made them think, what they saw of that event. We weren't there, so having to write that into law that this is kind of a fact, that this guy was actually asking for this because of what he was going to do and would not stop.
Yeah, and what he had done too, like he ate his entire family, his entire family. And then the guards at Fort Saskatchewan, when he was in the jail cell awaiting through trial and awaiting his whatever would happen to him, he would be screaming at night that this Wendigo is trying to get in and take him over. So the guards heard this too, and it was actually the term Wendigo that the person was saying. So that's where it started, as like a psychosis, a possession story. And then Algernon Blackwood, in I think it was 1910 or 1920, wrote a novella called The Wendigo, and it was the first time it was described as being like a creature, an actual monster that roamed the woods. Except
so
there's no
before that, it's a shapeless,
spirit,
formless thing.
Yeah. And then in his book, it became this flesh and blood creature with no horns. That the antlers are more like within the last, few decades kind of things in pop culture. More like a rake. People describe the rake, very thin, pale, bald head, roaming in the woods. And then
very much like certain powers that Dracula have are added by Hollywood. Like, he in the original books, he wasn't. I don't think he was, invisible in mirrors, but Hollywood adds that aspect to it, and all of a sudden, it's part of the lore.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. And the TV show Supernatural came out 20 years ago and did an episode about the Wendigo, and that's where it could whisper and trick you into coming out, and that was sort of something for the show, So it's like any of these stories, it gets added to over time.
Right. I wanted to say one thing to Jay. Our streams on the network, UFO Paranormal Radio, and News on the Flip have been deleted. It says, does that ever happen when y'all do y'all show?
They got flagged by YouTube. They're on what you call
this is hiatus. Facebook. This is Facebook.
Is it? Oh, I don't know. No, we got pinned on YouTube for the chat. I don't know why.
For some reason the streams on the network, on News, and they've just been deleted. And I don't know who it is, but it's someone either is doing it intentionally to be malicious, or it's a tech error on Facebook. But it happens all the time, and it just happened. But one thing I want to say is, Jason, we see a lot of these paranormal videos like Slapped Ham and Bizarre Bub. I've been watching a lot of that stuff lately. And there's always this weird emaciated looking golem thing that kind of shows up in a lot of these different videos. And of course, I don't think everything's real, but I think some of them may be. But is that what you think the Wendigo is? What do you think that particular creature is? You've seen it, right? The weird looking thing crossing the road, or someone sees it. There was one jumped in the back of a car and the dude's freaking out on the 911 call. Is that it? I mean, does that seem like it's what that is?
No, because it's more of a like a Canadian thing. Like, you know what I mean? And it's more of a wintertime thing. Like the Wendigo is associated with the cold of winter, right? Like, I mean, people are now saying they're seeing something that looks like a Wendigo in other places and, at other times of year. But I wonder if that's more, it's something else that people, just because they're aware of what pop culture says a Wendigo is supposed to look like, that they're attributing it to a Wendigo. Like I had someone reach out to me and say that their barn was possessed by a Wendigo. Well, Wendigo don't possess barns. You know what I mean? But because of certain things that have been added into pop culture, people are now misinterpreting other things that they're seeing. I don't know what that creature is that's in those videos. I've seen it popping around.
Yeah, it's weird how the same creatures end up in all those different videos. Like there's some little.
Well, and that makes me wonder how much of that is real and how much of that is staged or AI being used to create creepy videos to get views, right?
And so when it comes to this story of the native that ate everybody up there, how did the creature get inserted into this? Like the actual creature, the paranormal folklore, how did it get intertangled with it?
Well, at that point, the creature wasn't. It was strictly him saying that this thing was going to take him over and possess him. That's when it was very much treated as like a psychological thing. And there's even a designation now called Wendigo psychosis that's only amongst the Cree and Algonquin people. That is basically all the symptoms of believing you're being possessed by a Wendigo, like the hunger, the seeing your people you love as game meat, increased strength, paranoia, that kind of thing. And then basically the desire to commit acts of cannibalism. But not every case is psychological, because there have been reports of people, especially back, in the late 1800s, where they'd almost be superhumanly strong. Like people would believe they're being taken over, so they try to tie them up and they could break their bonds. They're almost unstoppable and almost unkillable. There's the story of Marie Coutray where they basically had to just chop her up with an axe. Like she just wouldn't die. It took days to go through this process.
Rasputin,
and things like
same
that,
thing.
Right?
Beaten, shot, stabbed, bound, gagged, and drowned, and still they think he wasn't dead all the way.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like it makes you really wonder about that component. Like I said, the creature aspect is more recent, within like just over the last 100 years, where it's actually a creature. So I mean, now the theories could be that there's like a life cycle to this. It starts off as like very much a psychosis. You believe you're being taken over. You commit your act of cannibalism. it possesses you, and you basically transform into this monster doomed to wander until you basically eat yourself to death, kind of thing. Consuming kind of whatever gets in your way, theoretically. You know what I mean? Like, it's the Wendigo it's starving, it's hungry, it will just eat until it's done, burns out. And the only way, once you've been turned, is essentially to like melt the heart of ice, because when you're taken over, because it is the cold, your heart becomes ice. So you got to think about that. How do you melt a heart of ice? Well, you pour hot liquid down someone. That's going to cause them damage too, perhaps, right?
Take them to Florida.
Or take them to Florida. I'm sure nobody thought of that. Back in the frontier days.
Because it sounds. I don't know the whole area, but it sounds like it's like Northwest Territories. Like we're talking above like Montana, Oregon, that part of the North America.
Yeah, the story is born out of northern Alberta.
Like deep,
cold
winter areas.
Cold, yeah. Like not cold all year round, but the winters get cold. Like you're looking minus 50 degrees Celsius in the wintertime.
Right, but it's cold enough in the 3 months of winter that the year-round temperature up there is probably something like -12.
Summer can get warm.
Counting summer and in spring.
Yeah, but I've been in Edmonton in August and it's snowing, right? Like it's rainy snow, slushy snow kind of thing. So it's generally colder. So it thrives in that kind of environment, right? So, which is what makes it so interesting. So you melt the heart of ice, or you dismember the person, chop them into pieces, burn it, bury on consecrated ground. Like it's.
How did they defeat it in Supernatural? Did they do the same thing? Dismember it and light it on fire?
Gosh, I got to remember. I haven't watched that episode.
It's been a while. I can't remember either.
Right? I think something like that. They killed it, or they stabbed it in the heart of ice. You know what I mean? Something like that.
Yeah, or hit it with an ice pick. It was weird. It was some kind of strange. I don't remember exactly. I know there's one episode that has involved like a magical ice pick, but I don't know if it was one with the Wendigo or not.
Yeah,
let me plug this one thing. It'll take like 10 seconds, and then I want to bring up one of the show that I saw the Wendigo in that you may have seen that was really creepy. I forgot to do this. Wolves of Winter, a 250-page graphic novel of Vikings and demons, is on Kickstarter. He's trying to get 40 grand for this Joker, and it's only got 9,000. So it may kick in the last 6 days, but it's looking very bad. But this thing looks amazing. So I hope a miracle happens with it. It's a comic about Vikings, and it just looks friggin' great. I'm surprised. Like there's a lot of unfairness on Kickstarter. Like if this thing had AI tits all over it, it'd be at 100,000 now. So
probably would have, yeah.
It would. I know Kevin Lafort. He has Inverse Press, and he's doing these gothic matchup comics. And right now, he just put out Dracula and Moby Dick teaming up. And
we found the secret.
Yeah, and Frankenstein and Cthulhu was last time. He's going to do some other ones, but he goes through all these Kickstarters and what some of these people are doing with the AI and sleeves. It's just terrible. And then they make a ton of money. But anyway, the show, I just want to plug to help that dude because he's coming on the show next year. But anyway, the show that I saw the Wendigo in was that Hannibal show. Did you see that? With Hannibal Lecter that was on NBC with Mads Mikkelsen and I forget the dude that played Graham, but it was amazing. That show was freaking amazing, and they canceled it. But anyway, there were some weird dream sequences where it came, and it was like this black antler. It was just creepy. Like it
was almost like it was covered in bark, the color of it, and it had antlers, and it was all dark brown face, and like again, like the body and the arms looked like it was encased in bark.
Interesting. I've watched that show. I think I only watched the first season of it. So only lasted 2 or 3 years or something like that. So
it got canceled.
Sounds familiar, that sequence.
It got canceled, but it was amazing. It had like 5 stars. Just not enough people watched it. But there's a chance that he may do something with Silence of the Lambs in the future. The guy that made it. But right now I'm forgetting Brian Fuller. He has trouble.
Brian Fuller.
Yeah. X-Men guy.
That's right. He was.
Wait, was that? Am I talking? I don't know if that's the same guy.
He did X-Men movies, I think. Yeah.
I don't know if it's the same dude.
I think it is.
Fuller, hold on.
I'm just looking.
But what else have you seen Wendigo in that's been really good? Ravenous. That's one that's crazy.
Ravenous is kind of they don't show it as a monster, but it's people being taken over by the desire for cannibalism. There's a movie called Antlers that came out a few years ago, which was actually made here in British Columbia, which very much is about the Wendigo story.
I saw that.
which is
That's good.
very, very good. Kerry
Also
Russell's
appears
in
in
it.
several animated cartoons, as well as in Star Trek. He's called the Mugatu.
Yeah, that's right. It was that, and then it was in a video game called Until Dawn that came out a few 10 years ago, and it was all about Wendigos. And there's even a character in it named Jack Fiddler, who was a real life Wendigo hunter, who was basically arrested for killing people because
He thought they were
Northwest Mounted
Wendigos.
Police heard he was murdering people, but he said he was killing Wendigos. That too is a court case up here in Canada as well.
Well, it's if you kill someone because you think you're a Wendigo, or you kill someone because you think they're a Wendigo, either way, they're locking you up. I mean,
Exactly right. It doesn't. That's where Indigenous rules
you're
and
not getting
Western
out of it,
law
no matter
collide.
how rational you sound. Yeah.
Yeah. You say you killed them because they were a monster. Well, they're definitely going to get locked up.
And then you can say, well, he begged me to kill him because he was a monster. You're not getting out of it.
There's no way around that one, unfortunately, for Jack Fiddler.
So tell us some more about the native. What happened to him? Did they put him to death? Tell us some more about him.
Yeah, Swift Runner was hung in December of I think it was the late 1890s. Jack Fiddler didn't make it to trial. He killed himself before, but he was also a 75-year-old man.
Wow.
So yeah, and then Marie Coutray, she was killed by her husband and son because she was turning into a Wendigo. None of these stories really end well, which kind of adds to the frightening nature of them. It's very much like a horror story, true crime horror story.
Now, how do they all know it's Wendigo? If it's a spirit, for one thing, is it identifying itself, or is it a group or species of these entities that are just called Wendigo like we are called humans?
It's the people identify that they are being possessed or taken over or driven to eat their loved ones by a Wendigo. So the belief in it is strong enough within the culture that once these symptoms start showing up, people are like, that's Wendigo. You're going Wendigo.
So they're not just going by they're just going by the symptoms. They're not going by the entity saying to them, I'm Wendigo and I'm taking over.
Yeah. No, they don't. There's never been, at least from what I could ascertain, this thing talking to them, or that anyone could hear it. It's the people in their head saying it's a Wendigo taking me over, wanting to kill me. So maybe they are hearing voices, but no one around them can hear this conversation going on.
Right. It's their own inner dialogue taking advantage of their.
And what do they usually do? What do we know about the actual murders? They just surprise murder everybody and start cooking them. I mean, what do we know about that kind of stuff?
Well, Swift Runner did his whole family, so he killed them in turn and ate them. And the last victim was one of his children. And so no one knows what went on in that camp. They just could tell the order in which people were killed. And then, Swift Runner eventually admitted to what he had done and said how it had played out. So yeah, it's like serial murder basically. Once these people do this, right? Or Jack Fiddler's someone comes up, my son or daughter or uncle's being possessed by a Wendigo, we've got to stop it. And so Jack Fiddler would go and stop it.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah, it's crazy stuff. It's crazy stuff.
We had a dude on once, Watiko. He wrote a book, Watiko. Have you ever heard of that? It's from...
and it's just a different version of the same thing. The different tribes spell it differently, pronounce it differently. It's like Sasquatch as a whole is known as Sasquatch, but different tribes will call them Strunatum or some other name within Saskatchewan, within the...
Psychologically, and how it's a parasitical spirit that affects mankind and weirdness. That was a long time ago, but I have the book. But man, did you get creeped out? I love the documentary and I love Small Town Monsters. And what happened during that? Was there any paranormal stuff? I saw it, but I'm always stoned, so I forget things. But what exactly, what's some things that happened while you were making that?
Well, when we were making it was interesting to make that because the stuff, when I was researching the book, I took my camera up to Northern Alberta with me. And I wasn't sure at that point if there was just going to be a movie and a book. I didn't know more than that. So I just filmed while I was up there. Nothing really strange happened, but it was you'd go into these small towns and you stuck out like a sore thumb. Yeah. And people looked at you very weirdly, and people up there still really believe in it. And that's where they don't want to talk about it. They're very hesitant to speak to you as an outsider about it. The story is still very guarded because they really believe in this story up in Alberta still. That it will come, and if people, even if they or cutting too much firewood or to using too much firewood that someone else could use. They're like, you got to be careful. People here are going to hurt you because you could become a Wendigo for behaving like this, for being greedy, etc. When we were filming the last sequence, once I found out once I was asked to direct it and everything, we filmed an investigation about into a sighting near where I live that had happened. And so we actually went into the woods to conduct an investigation, and everything that happened there is documented in the film. Like, we would use these trigger objects that aren't set off by movement or anything. You basically have to go up and touch it, and it's a temperature change. And I was standing here, and like a foot behind me was the trigger object aiming away from me, and it suddenly started going off. Like something had come right up behind me and touched the object, which set the object and the lights off and all that kind of stuff. We heard movement in the woods around us. I mean, it could be anything moving in the woods. Like, it's the woods, it's nighttime. Like, you can't take things like that at face value. But then we did the Estes method. Are you guys aware of how the Estes method works?
The only Estes method I'm aware of is you put a rocket together that was made by Estes. We put a frog in it, and then when the frog came down, it was liquid.
You mean paranormal?
Yeah, that's not the same thing.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't think so.
About paranormal equipment, like
someone uses a spirit box, and spirit box, like, words will come out of it.
Yeah.
Yep.
They've got the headphones on, and their eyes are covered. They're facing away from you, and you just start asking questions, and they say whatever kind of comes up in the spirit from the spirit box. And the idea is, if the answer ties into your question, then perhaps you are speaking with something there. So we were attempting to contact, if there was a Wendigo spirit, attempting to contact it. And I was asking questions and not much was happening. So I paused. And then Ollie, who's my colleague, said, "Keep talking." And I sort of said, are you here? And then there was a bit of a pause. And I said, if you're here, are you hungry? And the response was, "We are."
Ooh, okay, yeah,
yeah. So that was kind of interesting, and that's shown in the actual documentary. So, hello. It's snowy here too, where I am, because it's winter in Canada. So that's what it does here.
Yeah, we just got a little patch of it a couple of days ago, but nothing too bad.
So those are kind of the things that happened, though, while filming the documentary, that you could call as supernatural, sort of esque moments or paranormal moments. When asking if you're hungry and getting the "we are" back, I thought was pretty interesting, because it was a direct answer. And what got me about it wasn't like "I am," it was like "we are."
We are, yeah. So like I asked earlier, is it like an individual thing, or is it like a population of things called Wendigo? And it seems like it's a population of things we call Wendigo.
I would have to say so, because it couldn't be the same thing possessing people for hundreds of years, thousands of years.
It's exactly the same thing with Loch Ness Monster, Ogopogo, Mukele Mbembe, any other cryptid, Sasquatch, Yeti. The repeated sightings indicate that there must be breeding populations of those cryptids to keep them going, to be seen over the centuries, because Bigfoot's at least a 150-year-old phenomenon. Mukele Mbembe is at least a 75, 80-year-old. I mean, at least since after World War I, it's that people have been making notes about that thing in Africa, and it's either a Stegosaurus or a Brontosaurus. Nobody knows. There's just too much. There's too much foliage and too much unexplored literal land that we know 0% about.
Well, and exactly. And like when you talk say, Bigfoot's like 150 years, that's only within like Western documentation. The indigenous tribes have been talking about it for thousands of years, tens of thousands of years. So yeah, it has to be something. And when it comes to like the Wendigo, like, because it's not technically a flesh and blood creature, and it's starting off as more of like a supernatural origin, it means that there's got to be the source of this has got to be something that's not just limited to one thing, where it just gets one person at a time, right?
Well, an entity of unknown origin, and let's just use gaseous form, has been speculated on in many other forms. Dracula. Star Trek has the vampire cloud that killed Captain Kirk's original captain and crew. And then he chased it later on with his crew. There's another entity that captures Klingons and Captain Kirk's crew and makes them fight with archaic weapons. And then when they die, it regenerates them and just keeps them, because this energy thing feeds on hate, or it feeds on death and dismemberment. It's all that type of entity thing is also thousands of years old.
Yeah. So, and paranormal activity has been on this planet, I think, as long as people have been around, if not beforehand. So you can kind of
even longer than
it.
even before we got here. Yeah,
exactly, right. It's been here forever. So we're just becoming aware of something that's been here a lot longer than we have.
We're evolving to a point where we're able to perceive things that, you know, someone more simple wouldn't.
Yeah,
you know, like a bug. A bug is probably completely unaware of anything like a ghost, or, you know, they're just like, their brain capacity just can't, you know, fathom that abstract concept.
No, exactly, right. And I think, I don't know if we talked about this the last time, but I think kind of before we kind of became into these like organized communities, you know, and created like, you know, like the Industrial Revolution and science and all this stuff, I think we're probably way more in tune and way more aware of it. And then it's kind of been lost to us, except for, say, a few individuals that are open to the idea of it. And I think now that as a species, we're kind of waking up again and seeing that this is around us and been interacting with us for forever.
And where does the heart of ice come from? Is that part of native folklore? I mean, what's the root of that?
You know, the heart of ice is basically when you are taken over by the Wendigo spirit, your heart literally turns to ice. It's the side effect of it. And then as it turns to ice and you become this monster, basically. And that's the way to stop it, is if you can they would pour like hot tallow. So it's like they'd take fat, like animal fat, and boil it so it'd be super hot. And that's one of the things like the fiddlers would do. Then they'd pour this boiling hot liquid down someone's throat in an effort to melt the heart of ice. But that's got to kill someone too.
Yeah, I don't want to drink boiling hot tallow. Yeah, that'll kill you.
How many people just had the flu and they did that too? Like the witch.
Well, and that's you could look at that, right? Like it's hard to say.
It's just creepy, but what else do you recall that you normally maybe don't talk about as much that's fascinating to you with this story that you'd like to talk about?
Gee, like it's like one of those things, kind of the more I researched it and looked into it, like the just kind of the scarier it got. And what I found really interesting is that there was sort of Wendigo reported sightings like down in Vancouver, British Columbia, which is the big center, like, you know, 3.5 hours from where I live on the coast. Like people are seeing it in green belts there. So it's like, I think it's just how widespread this story is becoming and how it's growing outside of its, you know, very limited roots in the Algonquin and Cree people.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that's, like I said earlier, if it's like, is this creature actually kind of expanding, for lack of a better word, or are we misinterpreting other things as Wendigos because of how it's become popular now in popular culture because of supernatural and movies like Antlers and video games like Until Dawn, right? Like that's a question that came up to me as I wrote it and put the film together.
Well, I think it's a combination of all of that. I think it's also familiarity with similar type entities in Europe. Werewolf, for example, is kind of like a Wendigo. They're not exactly the same, but they are also ravenous eaters. You got that kind of thing. There's the legend of the Greek and Roman legend of Apollo. Apollo had the 7 daughters. Zeus was enamored by the 7 daughters. Zeus chased the 7 daughters. Apollo went and put the 7 daughters up in the sky. There's the Pleiades.
Mm-hmm.
Native American tribes have the exact same story, except it's the great bear chief has 7 great daughters, and the great whatever their god entity is comes after them. And when he gets close, the great bear chief goes and races the ground, and that explains Devil's Tower. And then when the great god thing starts climbing to the top of Devil's Tower, when he gets to the top, the great bear chief goes and puts his 7 daughters in the sky. The Pleiades. It's the exact story from across the planet. How did they get it? It's because there's similarity to all of these things. They're connected somehow.
Yeah.
And there was more connection. People were a lot more connected than we think they are. They may not have had the internet. They may not have had cell phones, but the people in China knew about the people in Italy, and the people in Italy knew about the people in Mexico, and the people in Mexico knew about the people in Russia. Guarantee you, even 1,000, 5,000, 6,000, 10,000 years ago, they did.
Yeah.
The evidence is everywhere.
Yeah. I think the world, I think we traveled a lot more than people let on. I think there's so many ways you can go with all this kind of information, right?
There's Viking ruins and writings in the Ohio Valley and in Canada, Eastern Canada.
Yep.
There's Proto-Egyptian the language before the three that I can't remember the names of them now, but there's Proto-Egyptian hieroglyphs on rocks, carved into rocks in Australia. There's
wasn't there even like
there's-
Knights Templar material
Yeah,
found like
right.
in the eastern United States too?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
What
Yep.
about Kernanos? Not to say he's a Wendigo, but that's the antler thing, and that's kind of like the Knights Templar Baphomet or whatever. That's kind of like a goat. I remember H.G. Geiger doing some weird art of that, but there's weird things that could be related to it. I don't think Kernanos. He's more like an earth forest god, like Pan or something. But
I think we're going to find
It's
this.
a
A
similar
lot
kind
of these
of
stories are so
depiction.
intertwined; it's just impossible to get around it.
Yeah, the Wild Hunt in Eastern Europe, figures with like the antlered heads and associated with that too, right? Like I think culturally, I think we associate like
Well,
antlers with like
Isn't the Green Man? Doesn't he have antlers? If you look under the church, in the pew at church, in an English church, there's a Green Man underneath. It's a wooden figure, and he usually has antlers.
he's
that's
kind of
right.
like Panish. Yeah.
I think it was like a symbol of like kind of mischief or like devilry or something. Like they associate horns with like that
druidic
kind of
symbol,
thing.
and I think you're both right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm curious what I'd like to get into the skinwalker's mind and what they think about this creature. If there's any, what they know about it, they ran into them, they deal with it. Which of course I doubt we're going to interview a real skinwalker. But one of the big, yeah, go ahead.
Well, no, it's what's that? Oh, I forgot the name of the tribe out there. Navajo.
Oh,
Navajo.
It's a Navajo, more of a Navajo thing, and it's people mistake skinwalkers and Wendigos for the same thing, but they're not. Like there's different enough. From what I understand, the skinwalkers, it's someone who can turn themselves into other creatures as well. Because like a witch warlock kind of figure, but they can also shift back.
Do they eat people?
Well?
They might eat people.
And they might eat people too, but it's another dark spirit. Like all these tribes would have different representations for their dark evil spirit. That's a cautionary story.
I hate about skinwalkers when you watch those paranormal videos, everything's a skinwalker. Oh, someone farted on my doorbell cam. Skinwalker. My dog's a skinwalker. My cat's a skinwalker.
Buzzwords, right? Something becomes popular and we call it, we have a buzzword and we got to use it and everything. Yeah, that's what that is a lot of the time. And then they also want to get hits. If you put skinwalker in your your reel, someone's gonna be like, oh, I'm interested in skinwalkers. I'm gonna watch that.
I interviewed J.C. Johnson, God rest his soul. I don't know if you've ever heard of him, but he passed away from pneumonia. A really cool dude down here that was like a cryptid explorer. Died many years ago, and I did a written interview with him, and I need to find it. But he went into the crazy details about how you become a skinwalker through the Navajo legend. Like you kill a loved one. Like it was so creepy. But later he actually died from pneumonia, which was really sad. I saw him recently. I know. David Paulides has that new Bigfoot thing. I haven't watched it yet. I want to, but I watched a video about it, and I think they had him in it, J.C. Johnson. But yeah, I would be curious to the lore, and I don't know. I guess the natives bring up the Wendigo a lot. Is it in Canada more than America, or is it both kind of equal?
It's more in Canada, but it is also in like the eastern United States as well. Like if you kind of follow the Algonquin Cree tribes, they go down and then they kind of go into, oh gosh, forgive me, I'm not as familiar with where all the states rest kind of thing, but I know Chad Lewis, who's an author and cryptid researcher.
I don't know about it.
He knows about it, and he investigated sightings in his neck of the woods, and he's more out east in the eastern United States. So that kind of moves down. Like I say, people are beginning to say they're seeing it in other places as well, outside of where it normally would be seen. But I wonder again if that, like I said, if that's misidentifying something else.
I'm trying to remember what's Penantan Wendigo. Penantan.
Oh, Pinatan. That's the local investigation we did here. There's a community about a half hour east of where I live called Pinatan, and it's up in a remote valley somewhere. And what had happened is once I started working on the book and documentary, someone came forward and told me that his wife had encountered one while driving home in the wintertime, so January of 2024. And she reported seeing as she was driving into the community, it was night, and there was like a really dark shape that looked like it was in a cloak on the side of the road, and it had the antlers up coming out like that. And it basically saw her, and she saw it, and then in the blink of an eye, it was gone. But her brother had recently died, and he had become addicted to drugs. And so it kind of fit into that being taken over by something and maybe weakened. Should I hypothesize maybe like, weakened by the drug addiction before he died, that it could have been, a Wendigo could have been brought in somehow. So that's when we conducted our investigation in the woods up there.
Cool. And tonight is the Krampus night, and a lot of people celebrate that. I see a lot of stuff on Facebook about Krampus.
That's
kind
right.
of like, he looks like he'd eat somebody. He might eat kids. Probably does.
He hauls them away somewhere to hell, doesn't he? Or their version of hell or something like that. And
I'm not sure if he eats them, or I know he sticks them in that basket, and that's usually not good. So
no.
That's what happened with the Bigfoot.
Well, I mean, most of the stories of kids getting cooked and eaten come from European stories. I mean, Hansel and Gretel. I mean, come on, that's like Middle Germany. I mean, it's like
that's exactly it. And usually it's don't wander into the woods or something will get you and eat you, basically, right? Like, so Krampus kind of ties into that, I think. Like,
and I think unfortunately for that generation and my generation of the 60s and 70s, the parents did the same thing. Don't go in there. The boogeyman will get you.
Yeah.
Well, as soon as our parents turned their backs, what do you think we did as kids? We went in there looking for the goddamn boogie monster. If we didn't know, we were looking for it. We went intensely. We were like, "There's no boogie monster. What the hell?" And then it was at that point we realized our parents were lying to
us about everything, probably
about almost everything. Yes.
Was there any time when you were writing this that you got creeped out, or had nightmares, or just felt weird, or?
No, it was actually like they weren't nightmares, but it's disturbing stuff. So it's like, watching too many Netflix true crime documentaries in a row, you kind of just get like in a weird, dark mindset. But nothing too creepy happened.
I watched that Ed Gein thing with Charlie Hunnam, and it was okay. I would never watch it again.
That's really creepy.
Good for one trip. But
his voice freaked me out.
He did a good job. I think he did a good job. I just know that Ryan Murphy kind of like, he kind of over exaggerates, American Horror Story guy, but it's worth watching. But there's a lot of stuff that ain't true in it.
That's what I've heard, which was kind of disappointing because I'm fascinated with the story, obviously because of Psycho and Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
And Depraved was that book that was supposed to be that guy denounced the show and everything. The guy that wrote Depraved, which was a Ed Gein book that's real popular, that was more fact. But I like the way in the Ed Gein show they flash back to Tobe Hooper doing Texas Chainsaw Massacre on set. They went to Hitchcock, and they would do like flashbacks into how he influenced Hollywood and stuff. It was weird. Like the end was weird. Like he's like in heaven and everybody's like meeting him, and so it was like there's some goofy parts to it, but it's worth one good watch.
That's kind of what that Ryan Murphy does, though, right? Like he did a series called Grotesquerie, which is a bit off track here, but it was like a police chasing a serial killer, and it just got weirder and weirder and more surreal as it went along. I couldn't finish it because it just got too out there.
Yeah. I watch his stuff, but a lot of times I'm like, I'll never watch this again. I know there's a weird one on the American Horror Stories, which is kind of like Creep Show or Tales from the Crypt or something, those little stories. But there was one in this national park where these feral people were eating people, and the government kept keeping them there up. That was crazy.
That was nuts.
Yeah,
but I enjoyed that one. And it wasn't it like the parents went back looking for their kid, and the kid was running the tribe of all these feral people.
Like that one was good, but most of them were kind of sleazy, but that one was good. But I watched them one good time, but I didn't see Grotesquerie. I didn't see the Nurse Ratched one, and I wanted to, but I like the lady that played Nurse Ratched, from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. He did a whole show about that nurse.
That's right. I remember that. I only saw the first one, but I didn't watch all of it.
I never watched it, but
and we also talked about in this stream. We also talked a little bit about how Hollywood has affected some of these stories, making them sometimes better or worse, adding powers, taking powers. And I think we may have talked about this last time you were on, Jason. I don't remember, but one of the classic horror stories was written by Peter Benchley, Jaws, made into a movie by Steven Spielberg. The end of that movie, not to spoil it for anyone who hasn't already seen a 40-year-old movie, the end of that movie, the rubber shark flies into the cabin of the boat, and Roy Scheider shoves a scuba tank in its face, and then he gets on top of the crow's nest and waits for it, and he shoots it in the face and blows it up. And there's a huge explosion in the cabin, red blood. It's fantastic. Well, the actual ending of the book, the shark swims into the cabin, and Roy Scheider's character swims out the other side of it, and the shark gets stuck, and the boat goes.
That's right.
If that had been the ending of that movie in 1973, when we were all 10 years old, we would have been screaming. We would have shredded the theater screen. We would have been so angry at that ending. That's the one case that I ever give Hollywood where they actually improved the original story.
I agree, because I've read the book. I read the book after I saw the movie, and I was like, "Oh, this is lame. How did this get made into a movie?" Because the movie's
which one? Which one again?
Jaws.
Oh, okay.
My father read the book before we went, and I'm glad I didn't. I was 10. He wouldn't have let me. I probably anyway, but he took us to see it. It was an R-rated movie, and we took the whole family. My sister was like 6, I think. I was 8 or 9 or 10. But the ending is like so graphic, and my dad didn't like react at all. I'm like, I guess it must have been in the book, but it actually wasn't. The actual ending is.
Yeah, it was really, and it's even I remember reading an interview with Spielberg, and someone was like, "Well, Steven, like if you shoot the tank, it's not going to explode." And he's like, "Who cares? By then, I'm going to have them in the grip of my hand, and they're just going to be so caught up in what's happening, they're going to love it." And he's right. Everybody loves that. That's
most people who were in the theaters aren't scuba divers. Only scuba divers are going to know it's not going to explode when you hit it with a bullet.
It's got that great like smile, you son of a bitch, and then boom,
yeah, boom.
It's so good. Like that's my favorite movie of all time.
It's probably one of the best miniature explosions ever, because it's well, actually it's not a miniature, it's a full-size 28-foot rubber shark that exploded.
Yeah, I love that, man. I want to watch it again. I might do that tonight. It's so good.
It is a fantastic movie. I mean, it just had its 35th or 40th anniversary.
50th anniversary. I think it's 50 years old.
Wow. Is it 50 now?
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
1975. No. I was 3 when it came out. I didn't get to see it till I was like 8. So probably
I was 9 when we saw it. I was 9. This is a summer movie, so I was 9.
I saw it at the drive-in with my dad. Yeah. I'm watching Welcome to Derry. It's worth the watch, but it's kind of disappointing in some parts. Like it's not, it's the It Clown, but like it needs more It Clown. But it's good for one watch. But
yeah, I've been enjoying it. It's
not horrible, but it's it takes. Lately, you've just seen so much stuff. It's just everything just seems like regurgitation. But I'm watching it. I don't hate it, but I wish there was more. It's like, when is this It Clown going to talk more? Like, I don't know. I guess it's kind of a prequel, so it's kind of you're setting everything up and everything. Maybe want to watch the Tim Curry version at some point again.
Yeah, I have that on VHS. I haven't watched that in a long. I remember watching it when it first came out in like 1990, I think, wasn't it? Like it was like
a while back.
Yeah, but anytime you mention that movie to people, like, well, Stephen King wrote about the kids in it doing each other and they're virgins, and so it's like, you shut up. I read
that. Great book too.
Yeah, it makes sense. He didn't get I don't think it was overly perverted. She just banged everybody so they didn't die, and I don't think it got into detail or anything.
He needed to remove the innocence. That was the whole point, right? It's he thrives on the fear of the innocent. So
it got rid of it. It was a little weird, but what ain't? But everything is. But I tell you, a good show I'm watching now, and I really like this guy. We'll get back onto the subject, but Tim Robinson. He did. There's a movie called Friendship with Paul Rudd. That's really funny. He did a show, I Think You Should Leave, on Netflix, like these skits that are hilarious. But there's a show, he did something called The Detroiters, and I haven't watched it yet. But the show on HBO that's new is called The Chair Company.
Okay.
And it's the weirdest thing. Don't watch it with kids around because there's weird.
All right, good to know.
But that guy is hilarious. I think he used to be on Saturday Night Live. He's just really neurotic. Like he has some kind of ailment and he's just screaming all the time. Like he's a different kind of actor. He's funny. His name's Tim Robinson, but he's in a lot of stuff. But see, if you get a chance, if you want some dark comedy, there's a movie on there called Friendship, and that's really good. He's in it with Paul Rudd, and it's basically he's stalking his neighbor and they become friends, and it gets really weird as hell. And then my dog's snoring. We stop it, Edgar. These Boston Terriers, man, they never stop. But anyway, you can't even watch a movie with him. He's like, but anyway, but Friendship is a good movie. And The Chair Company is a new show on HBO that's crazy weird and funny, but it's so weird. Like it ended, I don't even know if it just ended, but the last episode, I'm not going to say, but it was just so bizarre that I'm like, is this the end? That was the weirdest. It just had a really weird dude that met with him that had the weirdest like face on a dude that I've ever seen. And it's funny to watch, but definitely do Friendship. Usually when you watch the Cheer Company, when the episode runs out, they make you try to force you to watch Friendship, but Friendship was really a good movie. It was funny. Both of
I
them
saw
are
a
really
trailer for it. It looked pretty good. It looked different.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
It's really dark and crazy. But so what's up in the future? What I know you want to talk about we got about 30 minutes, 20 something minutes. You were doing a new Bigfoot thing you want to talk about.
Yeah, it comes out on Sunday, and it's from Small Town Monsters as well. It debuts on their YouTube channel at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, and it's called Sasquatch Legacy. And so we're investigating Sasquatch in British Columbia, and
Cool.
we look into like a local sighting, a recent local sighting, and use that as a springboard for this, looking into the indigenous history of it in British Columbia. Then we go to Harrison Hot Springs, where the term Sasquatch was coined, and legendary researcher John Green lived for the longest time. And I talk with like Thomas Steenberg, Jerry Matthews, and just looking at a bunch of different stories there, and then kind of go back and wrap up the local investigation that we kind of started with. So that's like the bookend to look into this whole history of it in the province, because there's a rich history of Sasquatch in British Columbia. That's where the term Sasquatch was coined itself. So yeah, it was funny because Seth Breedlove, who runs Small Town Monsters, basically on the same meeting said, "Do you want to make the Wendigo movie based on your book? And will you also do a Bigfoot film for us to come out by the end of the year?" So I was working on both these projects kind of at the same time to get them out and to get Wendigo out before Halloween. And then this one, which comes out like, on the 7th. So in 2 days. So it was
he pumps those documentaries out, and I haven't seen a bad one. I enjoy them all. I was disappointed to hear they may not be putting them on DVD anymore, that it may just be digital, which I understand for money. It's a money thing. And basically, I think they have something where you sign up and pay, and you get in kind of like a streaming they're trying to do or something, right? Or something like that. I thought I read, but I do that. I have a lot of them. I own a bunch of them, but I love them, and I've seen a lot of them, but there's a lot of them I have not seen that I need to catch up on.
Yeah, no, they're great. But the thing for me that I find really interesting, I've been a fan of their stuff, for like, they started in 2015, and I think I watched the first documentary of theirs I watched was like 2017. I think it was like their first Mothman documentary. And I used to do a radio show, like a pop culture show, so I interviewed Seth a few times on that about their films, and I was always interested in the paranormal and the supernatural, like all of us are, like, since kids. And so it's kind of surreal now to actually, like, have done like Cursed Waters with them and the Ogopogo book, and then to be asked to sort of direct 2 documentaries for them as well has been exciting. Especially because, like, I love the Wendigo story, obviously, and like Sasquatch to me is fascinating just because of the history. I grew up, like, I live in Sasquatch territory. All of British Columbia is Sasquatch territory. So I've heard stories forever, read John Green's books when I was a kid. So it was neat to kind of look into something that I've grown up with, my whole life, and to be able to do a documentary on it.
I know David Paulides, who I've interviewed a lot, but not in a while, used to never talk about paranormal stuff. And then he used to want to omit Bigfoot questions. I had a question in a written thing about Bigfoot for Examiner, and he took it out because he didn't want to bring that up with missing people. But now the Joker's gone balls to the wall with the paranormal and Bigfoot, and he has some actually decent evidence in this new documentary. I just saw something about it, a Cabin in the Woods on YouTube did a whole thing about it, and I haven't watched it yet, but I really want to. But there's supposed to be some really good, like, footage of orbs around Bigfoot and things like that, and some possible portal kind of stuff showing up with Bigfoot sightings with thermal vision and stuff like that. So I find that interesting. And I'm not saying all Bigfoot are paranormal. Some of them may be physical. Some of them may be, they die like a human. So who's to say, like a human, there's not ghost astral Bigfoots who've died and turned into spirits. So there could be physical ones and a spiritual side, both interacting with people or whatever. But I know he's gone balls to the wall with it. And now it's like he has a lot of evidence. And one of the biggest things he said about everybody thinking it's Gigantopithecus is there's never been any Gigantopithecus DNA found in America ever. So that's David Paulides.
And the funny thing is about Australopithecus and Gigantopithecus, those skeletons are only 3 and 4 feet tall.
Yeah, they're not very big. They're not like these Sasquatch are at least 6 feet and up, right? Like unless you see reports of a
I'd say
junior one, they're
like, yeah,
smaller.
toddlers and babies are, between 4 and 6 feet tall. And then as they get older, adults are 9 to 13, 14 feet tall.
Yeah, they can be huge, especially up in Alaska. They report massive Sasquatch sightings. Right, BC, it's on average about between 6 and 9, 10 feet tall. But yeah, no, and on the paranormal side of it, like we forget, like the indigenous people, it was a forest spirit. It was their forest spirit, and it was like the guardian or protector of the forest, kind of thing. And I there's the two camps, and I don't know where I quite sit on it. Like I think there's something definitely physical going on there. People are seeing, you know what I mean? Like people have been attacked. People have seen footprints. People have seen this thing walk, move, knocking stuff over. Right? I know. I remember your story from last time.
Yeah,
Jay. But then people have also started like saying there's been supernatural aspects where like people will see tracks disappear in the middle of a field of snow with no explanation on where it could have gone. Like, and even on thermal cameras, thinking they've seen a Sasquatch, and then it just dematerializes like right in front of them on the thermal camera. So
yeah, I know where it went.
Tough. It's a tough one.
Beamed up to a UFO.
Then there's been people that have reported alien abduction stories where they're taken up to a spaceship and there's a Sasquatch on the spaceship.
Here's a crazy one that David and that dude brought up, and Ron Moorhead on the show actually brought up this one. Some tribe, and I forget what tribe, but it's in that documentary. Some moon, they called this UFO a moon, some kind of moon, and it came down. And bear people came out of it, which I guess they were calling the Bigfoot that. But something about the dude was asking where some white dude, I guess, was with the natives during this time period, whenever it was in the past. And they were bringing food up the mountain to something, and he asked one guy, and the guy ignored him. Then he asked one of the natives, and they said, "Well, we bring it to basically a Bigfoot up on the mountain." And it's been up there since the moon came down and they came out of the moon. And they told like this big crazy story. And Ron Moorhead actually told some crazy story about a moon. And he didn't say moon then, a UFO coming down and bear people coming out of it. And that was Ron Moorhead. So there's some crazy stuff for sure. That it gets crazy for sure. Stan Gordon, Pennsylvania. He's got so many crazy UFO Bigfoot stories that are just nuts. I mean, they're nuts. What's that? Chestnut Ridge and all that with the white.
Yeah, Chestnut Ridge is another one. And Small Town Monsters made.
I have that
documents for that too. Invasion of Chestnut Ridge, right? Like there's that. And when we were like, when I was working on this documentary, we didn't have anything like paranormal happen, but you would still hear about stories related to sort of paranormal experiences with the Sasquatch. And even on something I'm working on now, which I can't really talk about, it comes up more and more frequently. And we even had interesting kind of paranormal adjacent stuff going on working on this project, even though it was more about Sasquatch. So I don't know, but like we talked about earlier, I think this stuff is everywhere and interconnected in some way. So I don't think you can do a project on anything without touching on something paranormal anymore. Once you dive into this realm.
Yeah, we actually said about this on another show. For us, it's not paranormal. It's normal. For everyone else who's looking into it for the first time, it is paranormal because it's that's their normal sphere.
That's a good way to look at it, right? If you start diving into this stuff, you see just how natural and common it is.
And it eventually becomes not paranormal.
Yeah. It's just another day at the office.
Right.
That's the biggest thing. All these people are like, that's woo. And I hate that crap. And they get mad at you because you say Bigfoot paranormal. Like they get angry. Like I had people threaten to beat me up years ago just for saying that. Like, I want to come to your house and beat you up. I was like, come on, you'll get shot, buddy. But anyway, I've had crazy.
That's actually how we met. We were in a chat room or a group on Facebook. And Jeff and I, we responded to I don't remember exactly what it was we responded to, but he and I were both in agreement on whatever they were asking about. And the whole group attacked the both of us. And we're like, what the hell is this? We just said what we think, and we're getting attacked.
Well, no one's allowed to have an independent thought anymore, remember?
Right, exactly. And we were the only two that had like a different thought on whatever it was we were talking about, and it just blew up on us.
Here's the thing. If you die and you think there's any kind of afterlife, then that should answer that there's some kind of paranormal, because you're going to be ejected into that son of a bitch when you die. You better hope anyway, or you're going to be just nothing. So you better hope there's some kind of paranormal going on, or that's going to, nothingness might sound nice right now, but it's probably, it's nothing. So,
once you're at the fringe of something like that, I think nothingness can be pretty terrifying.
That's why I believe I was so worried about death so much. God showed me something, or the Great Spirit or whatever, that there's proof of life after death. And God knows I don't want to tell the story again, but I'll tell it quickly. I was sober one day and I saw 2 beings of light leave my house as if they were in my house, flew out the roof and went to the heavens. And I saw it plain as day. Every time I talk about it, I get goosebumps all over my body. And I was completely sober. I've seen stuff partying. I've seen stuff completely sober. That particular time, I was completely sober. Nothing, not even weed or nicotine, nothing. And now the only thing I do is weed. I don't drink or anything once in a blue moon. Some of this eggnog stuff that they put in the bottle gets me in trouble sometimes. And but that's about it. And that's seasonal at least. But that particular time, so there's definite something to the energy bodies and stuff. That's why I think there's that side of Bigfoot. Like there's a physical Bigfoot, but obviously they have a spirit. So when they croak, there's probably like a ghost Bigfoots that might mess with people too. There's a quantum side. And I don't know if you have to be dead just to be that. I mean, maybe not. Maybe there's more to it. But I mean, they obviously are probably like us spiritually and have a spiritual side, soul, whatever.
I mean, they're 100% look human in the face, so I can't imagine they don't have a soul.
Well, yeah, you'd think, right? I think every living thing has one. There's a life
soul,
whatever you want to call it.
Maybe not bugs and insects, but rabbits and most things with a complex brain, I would imagine, have a soul.
I think so too. Yeah, and maybe bugs do too. We just don't know. We don't see ghost bugs. I don't know.
They have
I don't know if they have the capacity without the different. I mean, we have 3 different cortexes in our brain. We have insect, and mammalian, and a reptilian style brains in our cortexes. So, and
I'm someone that's always death just depresses the crap out of me. Since I was a kid, I used to write poems about dying and get depressed as part of the thing that probably gave me cancer. I was always depressed from bullies and a dad that was kind of abusive, not kind of, he was. And, I think something showed me that to try to bring some kind of peace, even though it probably didn't completely bring me peace. Death still is annoying to me. So we just lost a dog. So that's always the worst. Like, I can just go over to the grave and start crying.
No, pets are a big part of the family.
Yeah. And it's like, I'm someone that never cries hardly. So for some reason that'll do it. So I'll go out there and try to do it so I don't have a heart attack. It out.
It's a good call, man. You got to let that out. That's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And so what was the Mamio Beach? I'm trying to remember. I read everything.
The Mameo Beach. That's where a few of my interviewees, Morgan Knudsen, Alicia Pearl Werner, and her family, they were out at Mameo Beach looking for Dogman. And they had that encounter with basically they described this portal opening up and something that looked like a Wendigo, tall, skeletal, the antlers kind of coming out of the portal for a bit before turning around and going back in. And then the portal basically just shut down. So we went out there to do a follow-up investigation in that. And that's when we had found the Indian burial ground. It was basically right behind where that portal had opened up through the tree line. They were out there at night and they couldn't see that it was there, but we went out sort of at dusk so there was light, and we took a road. They went right down there, and literally 50 feet behind where they had the sighting, there was the Indian burial ground. So, which was very interesting to have experienced that, where they had seen a portal open and this, alleged indigenous spirit come out of it. So that was fascinating.
But aren't those Indian burial? But I don't know how they do it in Canada. But aren't they usually protected grounds? Aren't they marked off and?
Well, this was on we call it a reservation land. Okay. So it was just there, and it looked like some of it had been recently, recently they'd buried bodies there. And it was a beautiful, very kind of peaceful spot, except there are certain portions of it where we walked to where suddenly some of us began to feel ill, they'd begin to feel ill, nauseous. Mm-hmm. And then there's a part at the back of the burial ground, which is almost like the separate burial ground, we're looking like all the crosses have been pulled out and damaged and thrown into piles. And that place just didn't feel good at all, like at all, that corner of it. And we packed it up when it was getting dark and actually it's not in the documentary, but it's in the book. Just as we were getting ready to leave, this black truck flew in from out of nowhere, pulled into the middle of the burial ground, turned around, and basically just faced us with the lights on. And even all the windows were blacked out, so we couldn't see who was in it.
Oh, wow.
And it came out of nowhere, like out of nowhere. And so we quickly exited stage left at that point. Nothing followed us. That was a bit unnerving.
And it's definitely I know I see a lot of these videos where they go to paranormal places, and there's always some weird stuff like that happens. Some weird person in a car that shows up, or like there was one guy in Amsterdam going through a cemetery that was really, I forget the name of it, but some little weird old man was following him. It's like a lot of these stories where you go looking for paranormal stuff, and then these also, not only is it paranormal stuff, some weird human has to show up and make it weird.
I know. This was weird. And just did, like, we'd seen the creepy part, and we were kind of just packing up, and I was put the camera away because we're getting ready to leave. And then head further down into the beach. And it just came like out of nowhere. And it's like, you didn't even hear, like, it was like suddenly it was just there, pulled in, did a U-E in the middle of the would be like a parking area, I guess, of this burial ground, and turned and basically just faced us with the engine running, and you couldn't see who was in it. You know, by that point, the sun's just going down, so it's getting quite dark too. It was just strange. It was just strange.
So would you think it was government officials or tribal officials?
I would say it'd be more tribal. That's my guess, because it wasn't like, it was a truck. It wasn't like it was like a fancy government-y truck. You know what I mean? It was just like someone had an older Dodge or Ford or something like that was pitch black. So I'm sure someone maybe had seen us and then notified tribal authorities, and they just came. But instead of talking, they decided to put on a very aggressive stance. But that's, again, ties into the whole, real belief in all of these things, right? Like I said, the people that were originally out there that had seen this Wendigo sighting went out there because they heard reports of Dogman in the area. So if you live there, you'd have to be aware of all these things going on. And suddenly a bunch of outsiders have shown up and are digging around.
Causing trouble.
They didn't like it.
So, these stories about Dogman where the people bring home something from a grave or a burial mound, and the things will follow them home, and they have to like get rid of it to get rid of it. That's pretty interesting how these things are kind of like guardians, like Anubises from Egyptian lore, guarding, the dead or stuff like that. That's where it gets pretty weird. Now there is one on, I forget where I saw it. It may have been on Small Town Monsters, but something followed them home, and they had taken something. I don't know exactly what they took or remember, but a lot of times it seems like these things are guarding, especially native burial mounds and stuff. Like they're guardians and they guard it. If you do something, they'll follow you home.
Well, I don't think it happens just there either. There's stories with the people have gone to, they go on like a haunting, they stay the night at this overnight haunted house thing, and then they bring an entity home with them inadvertently. So yeah, it seems to happen. And I don't, just for whatever reasons, certain entities attach themselves to certain people who just happen to have, paranormal bad luck, to coin a phrase.
Well, I know as someone who's been a paranormal investigator for more than 20 years, it's usually bad karma to take anything away from a cemetery. Yeah. Anywhere. Like it's just uncool for one thing. And then I think you're just inviting trouble. And then, you've got to be aware, if you're going into a place that could potentially be haunted and you're doing an investigation, that you could be attracting the attention of something, and maybe it will follow you. So we always take precautions before and after to make sure that doesn't happen. But I think it's just really stupid to go into any burial place and take anything that's not yours and bring it home with you.
Precautions you do? What are precautions that you take?
Some people like I wear like bracelets like this, which have been given to me that are supposed to be protective. And it's intention. A lot of it's just your mental intention. Like you go into somewhere and like, okay, we're here just to communicate with you. We don't wish you any harm or like anything like that. We're just here to communicate. And just, if you've got a message, to pass it on. And then, at the end, it's like, okay, we're done. We're leaving. You do not have permission to follow us or anything like this. You stay here. We are going to our home. It's just, that can make the world of difference. Something that simple. But people will use bracelets, other carry certain rocks, medallions. There's anything. I think anything that gives you comfort that you believe in works.
Beretta 9mm.
That works too. Right? Right? A lot of it is mindset, though. I think a lot of it is your mindset and what, just where you're at in your head and how you approach things.
Did y'all bring?
I thought that was true for a lot of things too. And one of the first interviews we had on this show was a warlock, and I said, well, if I don't believe in the warlock's power, who's trying to put a spell on me, then he has no power over me, right? And he said, no, it's not how it works. So I'm like, damn. So yeah. So in some cases, that having that kind of mindset, in that case of a magic spell, you still need a talisman.
That's
ward it
a
off.
different thing, right? You're talking about like it's funny though with like voodoo and things like that. It's definitely belief plays a part.
Yes.
From what I understand. But yeah, if someone's trying to use like dark magic against you, you've got to figure out what that is and find a way to counteract it.
And well, I actually asked that question too, and there's no such thing. So the way he explained black magic versus white magic was
right.
You have two farmers. Farmer A has a strong crop, is coming in good, it's got just enough water and all that, is coming in good. Farmer B has a crop that's struggling, needs some water, and if it doesn't get any water soon, it's going to die and he's going to lose his money. Well, soon after this, they're realizing this, a huge storm comes in, a lot of rain comes in, it sweeps over farm A and blows it out, puts too much water on it, and drowns it out, kills it. But at the same time, it goes over Farmer B's crop and waters it and brings it back to life. Farmer A's crop or Farmer B's crop is going to now survive. Farmer A's crop is destroyed. Well, if you ask the two men, Farmer A is going to tell you the storm was evil. Farmer B is going to say it was a godsend.
No, that's good.
Storm doesn't care one way or the other. It's neutral. It couldn't give a crap one way or the other whose crop wins or not.
That's a good point.
The magic spell is the storm. It has no alignment. It's a matter of perspective on who's sending it and who's receiving it.
You know what? That makes really good sense. That does make really. I've not dealt lots with magic, so it's a really
me either. So that was a very helpful thing to find out. Yes,
that is. No, that's super. That's super. It's almost like perception is everything, right? Like,
yes, correct. Yes.
Yeah, I like that. Maybe if a spirit followed you home and you didn't really care, it wouldn't be that big of a deal.
As long as it's a nice spirit, it cleans up after itself. I don't. What the hell am I going to do? It's not going to use any extra electricity.
Yeah, don't wake me up in the middle of the night. I don't.
And if anybody comes in the house, it's not me. Scare the living shit out of them and make them run.
Exactly, that'd be fine. Stay as long as you like.
You're muted, bud.
I'm just laughing. I'm putting up something where I work, and it's predominantly Republican. And there's this thing on Facebook. They screened red pill for years. Now the Matrix's trans creator just exposed the irony. And I don't want to get into this too heavily, but basically the Wachowski brothers are sisters now or whatever. But basically they're saying that the whole red pill is basically estrogen pills. And I'm putting up an article so that all the right-wing people can see it, just to be a dick. That was pretty funny. That's pretty funny. But
so you're saying the Matrix and all of the 2 or 3
a lot of the right-wing people use that red pill thing and have hijacked it for like truther stuff. The red pill, my show's called the red pill.
You're saying the Matrix trilogy is an estrogen fueled hallucination?
It's basic. It's on my Facebook if you want to read it. I'm
gonna have to read that. Wow.
I'm not an expert. It's enough for me to make a post to be a dick. That's all I know.
Yeah. I just liked it because it was a science fiction kung fu movie. Like, I didn't care about anything else. Why can't a movie just be a movie? Why can't it just be a science fiction kung fu movie?
I just found out not too long ago that they turned into sisters. I was like,
well, I heard about that. Yeah.
But whatever, to each their own. But I was just making the post to upset people at my work, so I have to put up content. But I know you're working on future stuff you can't talk about. I mean, you can't drop us a creature hint, a cryptid hint, dog.
All I can say is I've got this Sasquatch Legacy coming out on Sunday. What I'm working on is a nice follow-up to that. Let me put it that way.
Cool. Well, we got about 4 minutes. What haven't we talked about that you remember that you would like to say something about, and then we can close out?
I think like the big thing for me, I think is I didn't know how like the Wendigo book or film would be received because it's not as well known, cryptid. It's more of a Canadian story, but people have it's done really well, like 77,000 views on YouTube, and I've heard a lot of good comments on it, and I'm just pretty happy. So just thanks to everyone who tuned in and who watched it and liked it and who read the book, and people who've had good constructive criticism. It's been very appreciative. I've used that in the other projects since, and I'm just glad people enjoy it and that they found it interesting, and that the thing that people really liked was the historical aspect of it, like just learning about the history and where this story came from and the different concepts. So I just appreciate people taking the time to watch and read and enjoy it.
So the native stories and histories are fantastic stories to begin with. So, and having them, the harder to find ones come out is even better. Well, one thing I got to tell you, for like this might help you in the future, is we found out with the new show we have on the network called The Chat. We put the word insane in our show description, and we watched our viewership go from 1 to 2 million to 4 to 5 million.
Really? Just by using the word insane?
Honestly, just by putting the word insane in the show description, not necessarily in the title. You can put it in the title too, but we mostly put it in the job description, the show description underneath the title, and we're pulling in 4 and 5 million every Saturday.
Wow, that's that's insane.
so you start doing that, you know.
Yeah, no, I will pass that on to the powers that be in charge.
Yeah. It's insane,
It
bro.
really works, I promise you.
And well, we always love having Small Town Monsters. You're a great guest. We appreciate it so much. And what, you got any links or anything you want to give out?
Yeah, just you can come find. Well, obviously check out the Small Town Monsters stuff on YouTube. It's, you know, and also at smalltownmonsters.com. And for myself, I'm on Instagram, Jason Hewlett Official. You can come find me on Facebook as well. That's sort of my two real hangout. Oh, and I do a radio show every Tuesday night at 5:00 Pacific on Sandcastle Radio out of Florida called Paranormal Theories. So if you want, you can tune in off of sandcastleradio.org or download the app.
What you doing in Florida down here with me, boy? Florida.
The beauty of the internet means I can be in cold Canada and broadcast a show out of warm Florida. And
what's the show called again? What's the show called?
Paranormal Theories.
Okay, who else is it? Who else is it?
Just me hosting it.
But what do you mean? How's it out of Florida if you're in Canada? I'm confused.
I can off the internet. They just
we broadcast in New Orleans, and I'm in Pennsylvania.
Okay, I get it.
Florida.
Same way.
So it's broadcasting from here somewhere, like a radio show or a network?
Sandcastle Radio.
Okay, let me look that up because I'll put it in my notes. Sandcastle Radio, cool.
Yep.
Nice. Yeah, I'm in Florida and we're in New Orleans.
So, beautiful. I always wanted to go to both places. I'm gonna have to make it down there one of these days.
Well, I hope you come to Florida. You let me know if you come to Florida.
I will do that, Jeff.
I'm from Georgia, but I'm in Florida. But we appreciate it. Thanks so much, and it's always a pleasure. Thanks, Van. Have a good weekend.
Thank you guys. Thank you so much.
Check out the Fair Company and Friendship.
I will do that.
There's also a good one, I Think You Should Leave, where he does skits. So he's like crying to a gray alien and having a nervous breakdown because his gray alien died. And it's like
Joe.
Skits. It's skits. All right. Have a good weekend. Thanks, Jason. Take care.
You guys all. Thank you very much.
Yep. Thanks, man.
Bye. Take care, Jay.
All right. You're listening to United Public Radio, 107.7 FM, New Orleans. Maxim Furrick is next week with Wham and the Schmerling haunting, which is the Warrens. As a case, it's more than that. It's just they kind of hijacked it, and you know they're kind of controversial. But the Schmerling haunting, that was the one where the cops like actually reported seeing floating TVs out, and when they were looking in the windows, like they were at this haunting, and the cops themselves saw stuff. The cops themselves in this case saw floating TVs in the house just floating around, and the cops reported it. Like there's real police reports on this case that the cops saw a floating TV and all kinds of other weird stuff. So we've talked about
a shot at it.
I'd like to see a cop look into a house and see floating TVs just to see the expression on their faces. That'd be fun. But it's a real case, but the Warrens somehow got involved, and that's usually not always the best with the old Warrens. God rest their souls. That new movie, The Last Rites, is about the Schmerling haunting. It's on HBO. I haven't watched it yet, but it's the new Conjuring movie.
There's a new documentary out on, I think it's on Prime. The Age of Disclosure is the title. It's $19.99 to rent, so I haven't seen it yet, but it's got that A-tip video stuff in it. You know, the oh god, what's that Spanish dude's name?
What are you talking about again? What is it called again?
The A-tip videos. It's all about that, and the most he was filming it during the most recent Senate hearings, and it's now available on Prime Video, but I haven't seen it yet. But it's all about like the Age of Disclosure.
Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about. I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard of it.
Yeah, I mean, it just came out. I mean, it's like yesterday or 2 days ago.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out. I actually saw it on torrents and was wondering what it was.
Yeah, it's $20 right now to rent on Prime.
Screw that.
Mm-hmm.
Torrents.
I'm gonna wait till it's free.
Yeah, it is on torrents. But anywho, man. So the last show is American Gothic Haunted America from Leanna. She's coming on. That'll be the last show, and then we take 2 weeks off. And then, man, I've been scheduling. I've been just doing some friends of the show for January, like Johnny Zoltar and Mark Heller, and just some people just to kind of get friends of the show, and then we'll start getting into some other guests as the year progresses. But I have some women guests I'm working on for March. I have some Celtic Oracle, and some biodiversity animal endangered will coming out. So there'll be some good ones. And just scheduling. The Rumble channel. Man, this Rumble channel is kicking some butt up here. I just put up the show me and you did with P.D. Newman. Remember him tripping the tip? Ghost, Native American. It's about to hit 100,000 views.
Wow.
Look at it. I have it right here. You can go there, and some of the shows there are getting 100,000 views. They're real.
Yeah.
Why does it say an error occurred? Okay. I'll put it in the chat if you want to look. But we're getting the best views ever anywhere. I don't even think other places on the network are getting hits like this. This is real hits. This is the real deal Holyfield. If you look through these, from 30,000 to 100,000 hits on Rumble. And the way I'm doing it is I post my political crap. I get about 1 million to 2 million hits a month at Before It's News where I work. So what I'm doing is putting the video under the political videos, sometimes above. I'm trying that. And the people look at the political videos, and then there's this video right under it. So they're going to look at it. So they're coming to our channel. So I'm taking all that political and turning it into a plus. So it's doing pretty good.
Yeah, you got one on here for 127,000 hits. The one we did with Johan Tetro.
Oh yeah. He does really good for some reason.
Yeah,
he's a good guest, but he doesn't really do these kind of shows, really. So I mean, he just does music. So, but basically, I'm just sure. Like I put up about 30 posts a day where I work, so I put this video in those posts like 30 times. So it's racking up. Last time I made $227, but I'm going to make about $400. So I'm trying to get this thing boosted up to be some income, but it wasn't giving me it. For some reason, when you put it as a second video, it don't pay you as much on Rumble. Like if you have one Rumble video, that's the first video, and then you put a second video, they pay you a lot less because it's the second video embedded. So what I've been doing is trying to put the first video of us and then the political the second, and that's working. But if I put a YouTube video of political crap and then put ours under it, that'll give like first hits. So they basically pay you. If you're the second video, I was making $10 a video, but now I'm working on ways to manipulate the system to get the big money. So far I've made about $40 on one of them. So
yeah, not bad.
I'm trying to make it into a job. I still have my job, which is always going through turmoil.
Yeah.
But now at least I have a little bit something going on. It ain't much, but it's something, and maybe it'll grow more. But the hits are amazing. It's just figuring out how to get the good pay for them. And you got to have that video first when you embed it on a post before it's news. So, but yeah, Anthony Fusilla, 100,000 hits. That was Anthony. Remember him, the dude in Britain about Mars?
Yes.
A bunch of these are doing really good, and these are real hits. There's no manipulation. Those people that used to help me with hits are gone, so I don't even work with them anymore. They're gone because Rumble started deleting everybody's channels who had pirated information. So mine survived because it's just the show, so they're keeping it up. I was worried they're going to delete it, but they didn't, and they paid me for 1 month finally.
Yeah.
So I'm in the clear. I just got to keep it going. So far on this channel, I've made $500 in 2 months. But if I could get it up to 1,000, we kicking it back. We've had some good donations, or about $3,000 in donations. Half of that on GoFundMe. That's used for the internet bill. And of course, all of it's gone on bills now. But at least it helped me get by while I was going through crap. Man, Clyde Lewis, I saw his GoFundMe. This dude, he does a radio show, and he has kidney failure, which is a lot worse than what I'm going through. But that joker just hit $20,000 on his GoFundMe. $20,000.
Damn.
Man, I need 20. I need to have kidney failure. I'm kidding. But I don't think we have that much. Most of our listeners are broke. But we did good, and I'm grateful. But if you want to go to our group, you can go to churchofmabusradio.com. It'll drop you into our group, and the GoFundMe is always there. I'm trying to calm down on sharing it too much, but probably the last month of it, sharing it. I've already got kicked off Gmail. I got banned from Facebook for sharing so much. Because if you share things too much, they'll get you on those things and try to get rid of you. I think you're like a fisher or something.
I think you're trying to spam people out. Yeah.
I tell you, man, the crap you got to go through with a GoFundMe, like you get on Facebook and Harley, get out of the hallway. You're not eating cat poop, so you better get your butt in here. Anyway, there's all these groups on Facebook to share your GoFundMe. For some reason, GoFundMe attracts like crazy con artists trying to get at you. Like they'll come on your page. Can I help you share your GoFundMe? And like they're always like, one of them tried to trick me and get my login info. Like he had like he was like, I tried to donate, but it wouldn't let me. It's saying it's not live. If you give me your login information, I'll fix it for you. And I'm like, you must be
right.
I'm giving you my login information. But anyway, I just wonder what they do when they get it. Like, I guess they put in their banking information and try to steal your stuff. I don't know what they do.
Yeah.
It's crazy. What do they do once they, because surely someone has fell for it. If they're doing that, someone's had to fall for that. So, I mean, what do they do to try to rip you off? Probably take it over and then hook their bank account to it and get the money sent to them, I would guess. Or they get in here. This is crazy. But for some reason, those GoFundMes bring out the
There's
turkey.
a blue kitty cat trying to dig his way under the door. Give me a second.
A blue one?
Russian blue, yeah.
The hell are you talking about blue? Bro, a blue kitty cat. What, you spray paint it?
No, it's the breed, Russian blue.
Is that a new one?
Got two of them.
You got two new cats?
See, he's blue.
Oh, okay. I like the gray color ones. That's cool looking. Did you just get them?
They've been here a few months. Yeah, we got them 4 or 5 months ago.
Is that what they're really called, or is that just like a
Russian blues? Yeah, they're really called Russian blues.
Russian blue.
They got black pads, black noses, black eyes. They're really cool.
Yep. Where'd you go?
Oops.
Are
I
they
was trying to turn my camera off. I hit the wrong button.
are they expensive, or you just got them like they're like normal
We
cats?
rescued them from some idiot who lived in town. We had to give him $30, but yeah, they're probably about $300 or $400 a kitten.
Jason said, "Keep in touch. Great show." He accidentally kicked himself off by accident, which was no big deal. It was time ago anyway, but good guess. Small Town Monsters. And I always like their stuff. We had Seth on a long time ago and a bunch of people from there. We had Bruce Hallen back. We've had a lot of their guests on, but I try to keep on top of it to keep scheduling them and everything so we can stay current. Michelle says apparently Facebook does this mistake with deleting videos and stuff all the time, and it's an error that they deal with too. So I was just trying to make sure nothing nefarious is going on, because it seems weird that a whole video gets deleted for no reason. And she's saying that the same thing happens, so it's just stupid.
Yeah, there's some weird interface between StreamYard and some of the other streamers, and like I said, I have noticed that some of our the chat was turned off for some. It was just on the chat, and it's the UPRN radio thing got pinged, and they turned that station off. So we have to. I don't know if Joe was able to appeal it and get them to put it back on or not, but they pinged us for a video that we were playing from YouTube. YouTube pinged us for a video we were playing from their website, and I don't understand how they can do that. It's just weird.
Who knows these assholes? God, I don't know. I had my insurance for a year and I didn't even use it, so now it's gone completely. I was going to, but every time we tried to do appointments, they would like be 3 months away or something, because there's such a backlog of people. That's America for you, baby. Need to get a tooth fixed? Well, you got to wait 3 months to get in. So backlogged and pathetically stupid.
Yeah, they're taking out $62 a week. I get paid weekly. $62 and change every week. So that's 100. Let's just call it 120. 240. It's $240 a month I have to pay for insurance. Yeah,
mine was only 30.
It's way more expensive than you think, man. Mine is I'm paying through my company, and it's $240+ a month. Yeah, $62 and change per paycheck.
It's crazy. They take it out.
They take the insurance out before they calculate the tax. So I don't get taxed on that amount that they take out for the insurance.
My stuff's been crazy. My pay is like 2 months behind where I'm at, and causing all kinds of chaos and things being late, and everybody's just acting crazy like they're out of their mind.
I'm 2 months behind because I haven't been working for 2 months. I finished my first 3 weeks. One more this next week will be my first full month at this place.
Yeah, just feels like everything's about to blow up. So is Trumpelgooch still going to bomb Venezuela?
If they don't stop the boats coming off their land, yes, he will.
Some more fool's war. A fool's war. Even some right-wing people were calling it a phony war. Mike King, is a big Q Trump butt kisser.
And but every president before him has never done anything like this, and everyone's giving him shit about it.
Just seems like little George Bush going after oil in Iraq to me. It's just the same thing. But basically,
yeah, Mike kind of is.
Mike King is a QAnon person, and he has made a title of a show called "The Phony War in Venezuela," and that's from one of Trump's biggest butt kissers.
So, yeah, but the drug war's been going on since before, the Reagan administration.
And then, of course, he just pardoned some big crazy drug dealer from down Colombia or something. I don't know why he did that. Why are you?
Oh yeah, that guy. He was put in jail by Biden.
So, but if he was a drug runner, why are you pardoning him?
I don't know. I don't know the full story. I don't think he actually was a drug runner.
I'm sure they're probably paying Trumpelgooch to do it. Like, here's $1 billion if you let so and so out. Here's a pardon.
He doesn't need $1 billion more. He's got 7 or 8 million or billion to his name already.
I know right now there's a big Florida case brewing. Trump alleging that he was basically doing the same thing as Epstein, running women and trafficking them. And there's a big case, and I've seen the legal paperwork. I don't know when it's happening, if it'll get, closed out or.
They don't have any evidence. They sat on that evidence, but they had that Epstein files through both Obama administrations, all the way through Biden's administration, and now the Republicans have it, and the Republicans don't want to release it because they don't want to, shame the Democrats. And the Democrats don't want to release because they don't want their names out, but the Republicans want to release it, and it's such a whole shit show, the whole thing.
All of it is, and if you're from Before It's News in here, I think both sides suck. Both sides' leaders suck, and they bore me to death. I just don't even think.
Yes, it is, Heidi.
I don't think they care about us. I think they're trying to depopulate us. They don't care if we die. And that what was Penny Bradley with that 300 Rome Club showing Greenland and that map and all that. I think they would love to depopulate us, and that's what they were doing with COVID. That's what they're doing now with this insurance. So many people are going to die because their insurance is going up because of Trumpelgooch and whoever. And they want us to die. They don't care if we live or die. So they can all kiss my grits. Right wing, left wing, right wing leader, left wing leader, Obama, Biden, Hillary, Trump. You can all kiss my grits. I don't like none of you. I don't even want to vote anymore. You're all so boring. You're just so boring. You bore me to tears. And you're so ugly. I have to see your faces every day. You're just so ugly. Not to say I'm George Clooney or anything, but y'all people are ugly. Very ugly. You're like the mummy's gooch. Like, you look like Biden and Trump. Every time I see pictures of Trump now, he's asleep. And he used to call Sleepy Joe Biden. What are you on? Ketamine? Like, every time I've seen 1 million pictures of Trump lately asleep during meetings. He seems like he's about to croak.
No, he's just running himself ragged. He's working like 8 and 10, 12-hour days.
I saw the paperwork of all the drugs ordered from his administration, and it was like the craziest thing ever. Like, there's ketamine, just a whole list of crazy, like him and his brothers of his sons, Uday and Kuday. They're probably just doing coke and stuff, having drug parties. And like, there's this long pharmaceutical list that was just like, I don't even know, probably $1 million worth of drugs that they've ordered. And they're just like doped out of their mind. He's probably high on ludes. I don't know.
He seems pretty lucid to me.
I think he seems ugly. And he's got a vagina.
I just said he seems fine.
But he has a pussy, but he also has a pussy neck.
Yeah, he's got a vagina on his neck, yes.
He does. Even you agree Trump has a vagina on his neck.
Get them raccoon eyes from the
it's like he's from Mars. It's like the three-titted lady from Total Recall, but he's got a vagina neck. There's a picture of him on Time Magazine with a baby.
To keep his eyes in the tanning booth from getting.
There was a picture of him on Time Magazine on a meme on Facebook, and it had a baby coming out of his vagina neck.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
I just think they all suck. I just don't think they care about us. I just think they're disgusting.
I think the Republicans care more about the citizenry than the Democrats do, and the Democrats are proving that time and time again by trying to fight for non-citizens.
What about the insurance thing that's happening?
That's a Democratic thing. The Democrats put that legislation in there, and that legislation died out, and they're trying to save their ass by pumping money into it. And they're the ones who put it in there to die at this time, and then now they want to save it.
But now he's saying there's going to be Trump care. Where's that? Don't you think you should initiate that to help?
It's not going to happen overnight. You can't do it. You can't do it to health insurance overnight. Those health insurance companies basically, lambasted. They extorted Obama by not wanting to work with him, and so they think they have the upper hand. But Trump's going to show them they don't.
My biggest thing with politics is the left wing, right wing tribalism. It's like rednecks with sports teams. My sports team's gonna beat your sports team's ass. I'm a left wing, a right wing. There's like this stupid, ignorant tribalism. My side's better. It's like idiots at a baseball game, a basketball, whatever, fighting for their team, beating each other up. Like,
yeah, but if you've been watching the news, the right wing isn't making a lot of noise right now. The left wing is doing making all the noise. The real right wing extremists have been very, very quiet. Even Joe and I have commented on this on the other shows.
Flashing their Nazi propaganda as far as their tattoos. Why does that little Hegsworth have SS on his name tag on his desk? It says SS Hegsworth, like SS, like the Gestapo SS.
Yeah, look at every slippery when wet sign. It has that same symbol on it.
I want to know one thing. You're on team right? That's no matter what.
No, I'm in the middle.
You're in the middle.
I don't
Joe
believe anything on the left or the right.
But he kisses right wing butt all the time. Like he's always like liberals, but the right. Like it's like there's a sports team. I don't know what it is. It's just I got to get rid of it. I can't do it. I hate it. It's just like this weird. I see it at before it's news. Both sides suck. And I saw Courtney Brown from the Farsight Institute, who's been on Coast to Coast. They do remote viewing. He said that right wing, left wing ideology has destroyed galactic civilizations, meaning two caveman assholes going, me left wing, me right wing, fighting over ideologies, tribalism, has destroyed entire civilizations. And that's what's happening to us. It's the same thing. It's me on this side, you on this side, us versus them. And this guy is pretty smart and has the Farsight Institute in Atlanta. And he's been around forever. They do remote viewing, probably done government stuff. He's basically said that ancient space-faring civilizations have been destroyed because of right and left-wing ideology destroying each other. Which you see the same thing with religion. My religion's better than your religion. Oh, I'm a Muslim. You're a Christian. You're going to die. You're going to die.
They're just different control systems that are falling apart. That's all that it is.
But can you agree they're destroying us? I mean, that's the right-wing, left-wing thing is destroying America.
No, I don't see it as a right-wing thing. I see it as the left wing is.
I said right versus left, both.
I don't see it that way right now. What I see in the news is the left is fighting for violent criminals to stay in this country and harm our citizens, whereas the right wing are just sitting there around and watching them. They're committing, suicide to each other. They're killing each other. The three of their big wigs just announced they're quitting.
Yeah, well,
three huge Democrats are quitting.
I don't even like our government. They can kiss my ass.
It all sucks. But for right now, it's not the right; it's the left that's destroying the country.
I think they both suck.
They clearly do, but it's right now. It's the left is doing the bulk of the damage.
Someone could come on here and say Trump made bad lemonade, and you would defend him. Trump made bad lemonade yesterday. You'd be like, well, the lemonade was really good. It was from Value Mart at Walmart. And
no, that probably would not happen.
All right. Well, we'll see you after January. Oh, well, I sent you the schedule. So this is it for you.
Yeah. Was it January 8th?
2 more shows. Yeah. January 9th is when you
January 9th.
January 9th. And that's Mark Heller. But it's been a great show. Watch out for days. Watch the Chair Company Friendship. If you need some comedy. And you listen to United Public Radio 107.7 FM New Orleans. Everybody have a good weekend. Stay away from politics unless you just gotta.
Yep.
Good night. Watch out for your insurance. Good night, everybody. Have a good night. Take care. Bye-bye.